September 22, 1985. The sun was setting over Soldier Field in Chicago. 80,000 people filled the stadium, and millions more were glued to their TVs at home. On stage stood a man in a bandana and braids, barefoot, holding a beat-up guitar named Trigger. Willie Nelson looked out at the massive crowd and said simply, "This is for the farmers." In that one moment, something incredibly powerful began. This wasn't just another concert. It wasn't just a charity event. This was the start of a movement. A movement called Farm Aid, born from outrage, built on music, and led by a country outlaw who refused to stay silent when people were suffering. But this story didn't really start in Chicago. It started years earlier, in the quiet desperation spreading across America's heartland. Family farms were vanishing. Not slowly, not quietly, but in devastating waves. By the early 1980s, interest rates had skyrocketed past 20%. Loans that were once manageable became impossible to repay. And so, the banks started foreclosing not just on houses, but on entire lifetimes of hard work. Fields that had been tilled by fathers, grandfathers, and even great-grandfathers were being sold off to massive corporations or just left barren. Families lost everything they had. Tragically, some farmers even took their own lives rather than face the public humiliation of an auction. And through all this, it felt like no one in a position of power seemed to care, until three musicians did. It all kicked off when John Mellencamp, a heartland rocker himself, read a newspaper headline, "Farm crisis worsens, thousands face eviction." He was stunned. He immediately called Willie Nelson. Willie already knew. He'd been getting letters for years from farmers in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. Men and women writing to him, telling him they couldn't feed their families, let alone pay their bills. One letter, in particular, stuck with him. It was from an elderly farmer in Iowa. He wrote, "I've worked this land for 50 years. Now they're coming to take it. I don't know where to go." Willie said later, "That just broke my heart. And I knew I had to do something." So when Mellencamp called, Willie said yes. Then they called Neil Young. Young didn't hesitate for a second. He had always believed that music had a duty not just to entertain, but to awaken people to what's really going on. Together, the three of them set a date, found a venue, and started reaching out to other artists. There were no corporate sponsors, no big marketing budget, just a simple, powerful mission: save the family farmer. The odds were stacked against them. Radio stations ignored their ads. Promoters doubted anyone would even show up. Even some of their fellow musicians questioned why a rock star and a country singer should get involved in agriculture. But Willie didn't care about getting approval. He grew up poor. He saw hard work every single day of his life. He knew what it meant to depend on the land, and he wasn't doing this for fame. He was doing it because it was the right thing to do. On the day of the concert, the energy was electric. Artists showed up without contracts, without any demands. They came because they believed in the cause. Bob Dylan showed up unannounced. Billy Joel played a stripped-down, powerful set. The legendary B.B. King brought the house down with "The Thrill Is Gone," dedicating it to every farmer who's ever felt forgotten. And Willie. He performed multiple times opening the show, coming back on between acts and closing out the entire night. His final song was "I Am a Pilgrim," a traditional gospel tune about journey, struggle, and keeping the faith. As that last note faded into the Chicago night, you could feel it in the air. Something had changed. That night, Farm Aid raised millions of dollars. But more importantly, it gave farmers something they hadn't felt in years: hope and attention. Suddenly, news outlets were covering the farm crisis like never before. Lawmakers started asking questions. Relief programs were finally created. Farm Aid worked. But here's what makes this story truly remarkable. They didn't just stop after one show, while other huge benefit concerts faded into memory like Live Aid or Hands Across America. Farm Aid kept going. Every single year. for nearly 4 decades now. Through droughts, recessions, pandemics, and political storms, Farm Aid has never missed a year. And Willie Nelson has headlined every single one. No exceptions. Even in 2020, when all live events were shut down, Farm Aid went virtual. Streaming from Willie's own backyard in Texas. At 87 years old, he played Whiskey River under the stars, saying, "The farmers still need us. So we'll keep showing up." Today, Farm Aid is so much more than just a concert. It runs the Farmer Hotline of Free. It's a confidential service where struggling farmers can call and speak with trained advocates. These advocates help them navigate debt, find resources, and connect with legal aid. Since 1985, that hotline has taken over 300,000 calls. Farm Aid also funds grassroots organizations that promote sustainable farming, local food systems, and fair markets for farmers. They've helped launch hundreds of farmers' markets, supported farmers transitioning to organic practices, and fought against corporate monopolies in the agriculture industry. And Willie, he's not just the face of the organization, he's in the trenches. He visits farms. He speaks at rallies. He testifies before Congress. He doesn't just lend his name to the cause. He lends his time, his voice, and his whole heart. And he does it all for one simple reason. He believes farmers are the true patriots. Not because of flags or speeches, but because they are the ones who feed the nation. In his words, you can't eat money. You can't drink gasoline. But you can eat a tomato grown in good soil by someone who loves the land. Willie also walks the talk in his own life. He's a longtime advocate for organic farming and renewable energy. Back in 2004, he launched BioWheelie, a brand of biodiesel made from soybeans and other crops, designed to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and directly support American farmers. He even drove a tour bus powered by BioWheelie. 4 years it was painted green and ran on plant oil. Because for Willie, Farm Aid isn't just about charity, it's about justice. It's about fairness. It's about remembering that the people who grow our food deserve to not just survive, but to thrive. And perhaps the most powerful symbol of it all. Every single Farm Aid concert ends the same way. Willie takes the stage one last time. The crowd knows what's coming. He strums his guitar, trigger, gently. And then he starts to sing, "I'll fly away. Oh glory, I'll fly away." One by one, the other artists from the show join him on stage, sometimes dozens of them, with their arms around each other, their voices rising together. It's not just a song, it's a prayer, it's a promise. It's a farewell to suffering, and a vow that as long as there are farmers in need, Willie Nelson and Farm Aid will be there. No fanfare, no ego, just action. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. Tomorrow, we'll explore another deeply personal part of Willie's life, his lifelong relationship with a certain plant, and how it shaped his beliefs, his battles, and his legacy. This is Willie Nelson Daily. See you tomorrow.